What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. More CRX content. Let's see. I got this little downpipe fabbed up, and it's just shooting directly down at the ground. I feel like that is a good alternative for what I'm trying to do currently. I don't know if I'm gonna go back with the full exhaust just yet. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give them that downpipe that connects directly to the rest of the exhaust, and I'll give them the option to, modify it to, fully fit the full exhaust system going out the back. I'm just tired, man. There's a lot that goes into this, and I just don't know if I want to do all of that work, but I probably will end up doing it. I'm just being a baby about it. But let's flip you guys around real quick, and then we'll go over what's been done since the last time I filmed and what we're gonna do. So let's get to it. Okay, so like I was saying, I fabbed up this downpipe. Don't laugh at my welds, I know they suck, but this will do what we need to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off, take the turbo off, take the manifold off. We're going to put the gasket in and as many bolts as we can get in that manifold, because right now I think we've only got 2, and I think these 2 top ones are like, the threads are messed up, I believe. So we're gonna pull the turbo system off the car and put gaskets on everything, and hopefully bolt it up for the last time. And then after we get that done, we will do the turbo feed stuff. Before we do the turbo feed, I'm gonna pull off this valve cover because I have another one over there. So we're gonna put the new valve cover on, get that stuff swapped over. Then we'll start, installing the turbo kit, put the header back on with the gasket, put the turbo on with that gasket, make sure that we get this turbo housing bolt back in there. Just basically buttoning up everything that we've taken apart. And then once we get all of that stuff nice and buttoned up, we're gonna put the radiator back in. I was gonna do like a tucked radiator setup, but I honestly don't think that it's necessary. I don't think I'm going to need to. I think I am gonna be able to get away with having the radiator angled in that little section, which not gonna look the best, but if you know anything about EFs, you know it's very common to have something like that with a B-Series turbo setup in these cars. So that's the plan for that. Let me see, what else are we gonna do? We're gonna go through, once we get all the turbo stuff tightened down, and then we're going to put clamps and couplings on everything just to make sure that everything is nice and tight. So we've got a couple of clamps down there that need to be thrown on this cold side charge piping before the intercooler. This side is pretty much good to go. Once we are finished with that, we're gonna fill the car up with water and check the oil. One thing that I noticed, I was draining the oil on this car, and the bung is pretty high up on the pan, but it still lost like 1.5 quarts of oil after I had pulled the oil return hose off of the oil pan. So I think this car had way too much oil, and I thought it was fuel coming out of the tailpipe, but I'm wondering if it was actually oil. So I don't know, I'm hoping that we don't have a bad valve seal or a bent valve or something like that that's causing oil to leak through the cylinder head into the block. But car did smoke, a good amount, but it didn't seem like it was, oil. I just felt like it was rich. But anyway, that is something that I will need to address. So we'll make sure that the car has got oil in it. We'll make sure the car's got water or coolant in it, and then we'll start it up and see if we can get it to start idling cleaner. And that means we're gonna start messing around with the computer, and that's what I've been most excited about for this project. So stay tuned. We're gonna get into some fun stuff on this video, and hopefully when it's all said and done, we'll have an untuned drivable CRX. So let's get started. Hi guys. Hey, you guys got all the attention last time, huh? Yes, and we got comments. People like seeing the doggies, huh? 100 mans. Oh yes, hello big boy. Yes, hi Dingling. All right, so we got the valve cover on. It's looking nice and clean. We could hit it with, man, that looks weird. I don't like the way that looks. We might clean up this valve cover just a little bit more. I don't know, we might not. But got the valve cover on. Still need to put the PCV port back in, but that's not a big deal. Got the exhaust manifold gasket on, and I just dug around and I found our 5-bolt flange and I found our 2-bolt flange. This one will go in between the wastegate and our little adapter. That one will go on the back side of the turbo. That will sandwich in between our downpipe and the turbo. And then we have got our little bung right here for the oil return. And we do need to get some more, I think it's like -6 hosing for the bottom of that oil return drain. So I've got a piece over there, but I'm gonna have to couple it together and make something work. Or I'm just gonna have to pull it out of each side of the AN fittings they're currently on and just make a new line completely, which honestly, I think that's the route that we're gonna go. So we don't have any like jank stuff when it comes to the oil return, because I don't want any oil leaks. I don't want any issues with the turbo not, draining properly. We just don't want issues. So that we might do the right way. Once that's finished, we'll work on our turbo feed line, the oil feed line for the turbo. And then we got to put the radiator stuff back in. We'll reassemble the turbo kit with all the gaskets, and then we'll get the radiator stuff in. I'll put fluids in, and we should be good to idle the car at that point and kind of see what she does. One thing I am curious about, so when I pulled this line off of this fitting right here, you'll see that fitting is welded near the top of the pan. Now, I may be wrong, but I lost about a quart and a half out of this fitting, and I thought that was pretty excessive compared to how high the actual fitting is on the oil pan. So I'm curious if we've got the wrong dipstick, but it actually does show that there's a little bit of oil. It's just right over the empty hole, the bottom hole. So there is oil on there. We're just gonna have to make sure that this car has got enough fluids in it. I'm curious if that kid just put way too much oil in it and that's why the car was smoking so bad, but we really won't know until we get everything back together and we get the car idling again. So I think that's the next goal. Let's get to it. All right, we just made ourselves a little run to the parts store. Got ourselves some black high temp exhaust spray. I was gonna go ahead and grind off all my ugly welds, but I'm gonna let that shit rock. Proud of it. It's ugly, but it works. So we're gonna take some of this flame-proof high temp exhaust paint. We're gonna spray our dump tube black so that way it matches our header. All right. Okay, get a nice little coat all the way around it. Most of the way around it. We'll still have to do the bottom of it, but that's fine. Gosh, dude, I suck at filming. Get that a little bit more right there. And if you guys are wondering what all this black stuff is on my floor, it is flocking from when I flocked the door cards. That one still got to put on. So we'll put that side on. This side is already on and buttoned up. Once that side's on and buttoned up, we can take the ECU, remount it, mount the fuse box, clean the inside one more time. we've got our false bottom in. I went ahead and threw these hinges in, so now everything is attached. It's one piece, and you can still pick that flap up to get to the fuel pump. So there's that. And yeah, the next step is gonna be throwing the turbo kit back onto the car. But like I'd mentioned in that clip before, we just have to make sure that all of our gaskets are on. So another thing that we have to do is we have to take that wastegate and clean it out. So I grabbed some brake clean for that. Again, like I mentioned in that other clip, I dropped the wastegate in a full bucket of oil like an idiot. So she's a little greasy, but yeah, you can see it's a little bit of oil in there, and I'm sure it would clean itself out, but I don't really want to do that. Okay. You know what? We're gonna do a little bit more in there. All right. So we'll let our wastegate dry. It's a little more for good measure, but we're gonna let our wastegate dry. So we got one V-band clamp there. I got another V-band clamp around here somewhere. It just came in today. So I'm gonna find that other V-band clamp. We'll let the wastegate dry. Obviously the dump tube has to dry, and then we'll start reassembling our turbo kit back onto the CRX. And like I'd mentioned earlier, I know I'm horrible about telling you guys the same stuff over and over again, but once we get the turbo stuff set up, we'll bolt our radiator up, and then we'll let the car idle and see if we can't mess around with the tune a little bit. See if we can get it to idle better, see if we can get it to quit smoking as much. We'll see if it runs better now that there's not a million vacuum leaks, but there's quite a bit of stuff that should change the way that this car runs. So let's get to it. All right, so I got the turbo manifold back on, but I cannot find the damn gasket that goes in between the turbo and the manifold. That long, square freaking gasket that I had day before yesterday, but for some reason, I cannot find it anywhere in the garage. So I'm getting really frustrated right now. Very pissed off that I can't find this stupid thing, because I literally just had it and I had set it down somewhere, and now I can't remember where. Ah, this stuff is so goddamn annoying, but it's part of building cars. All right, guys. So real quick, I wanted to do a quick little walk around now that I've gotten things pretty much cleaned up. So you guys can see the wooden flat bottom, I don't know, false bottom cutout that I made for the rear trunk area. These CRXs do not look good if you don't have the rear plastics in the cargo cover and all that good stuff. So we went ahead and we made a plywood cover that, you know, fits all the way around. And then these brass hinges in the back that you see are there, so that way we can lift up this front section right there and you can get to the fuel pump and stuff. Coming around to the front of the car, it actually looks pretty clean. I'm stoked on it. Let me grab my flashlight really quick so you guys can see a bulk of the stuff that I did.
So if you look down there, our fuse box is nice and tucked up. All of our wiring and everything like that is out of the way. You can see our power wire there, which comes all the way down here, goes through there, and then peeks up through the floor right there into our battery box. Cleaned up the interior the best that I could. This is 30-year-old interior. This is a 30-year-old CRX, so I definitely didn't expect the seats or the interior to be in the best shape, but I'm not really upset with how it looks. Now, keep in mind, this hasn't been detailed yet. I can still go ahead and do a nice interior detail on all the plastics and shine them up a little bit, but here is the flocked door panel. There is it under light, and there's no light. I think it looks pretty good. I'm stoked on it. We're gonna walk around to the other side really quick, and I will show you guys that side. So I think that the door panels came out pretty good. I'm stoked on them. I think they look it made a world of a difference. It looks 10 times better than the stock ones did. Coming over here, we just cleaned up this side a little bit, put a new shift knob in it. We put the center plastics in. ECU is mounted like I was talking about previously in the video. So I think that looks pretty good. I'm stoked on it. And just another look back there. You see everything's cleaned up quite nicely. Now we'll go to the biggest transformation. Well, honestly, I think that's the biggest transformation, was the back area, because that looked bad. But we got the engine bay somewhat tidied up, somewhat buttoned up. Few things that I did, first being the timing belt cover that was not there previously, so we went ahead and got a timing belt cover and threw it on there, so now you cannot see the timing belt anymore, which I don't know, I like it. I think it looks cleaner that way. Again, we cleaned up a lot of the wiring and just basically tucked stuff and clipped stuff where it was supposed to go, zip tied stuff out of the way, yada yada yada, this, that, and the third. But I think the engine bay looks a million times better. We got the new exhaust manifold on. It is now a top mount manifold, and we've got this little dump going down right there in front of the transmission. Our wastegate is right below it. The only gasket that we are missing currently is the one for the turbo, in between the turbo and the manifold. So I'll have to order that, and then we'll throw it on once the new one comes in. But aside from that, I'm really stoked. One thing I will be doing is we're going to keep the old downpipe, we're going to keep the old turbo manifold and everything like that with the car, so that way if whoever buys this car just wants to throw the other bottom mount turbo manifold on and then they want full exhaust all the way out the car, they will have the option to do so. But yeah, I'm super stoked. I think that's a really good start to this little project that we've got going on. So you guys can see I have taped off all of the trim and repainted the trim black. That goes for the rear bumper, the front bumper, the sides, all of it. So getting little bits done here and there. If you walk back here, you can look and see I filled in that big old rust spot that was all cancery and rusty. So that is all metal now, and I'll go ahead and throw a little bit of body filler over it just to clean it up, and then we'll do some rust prevention and primer it. But yeah, this is a good start to the boosted CRX project. So I'm super stoked. I hope that you guys are stoked. I hope that you guys like this type of content. I know that, most of the views come from going to the racetrack and actually putting times down in these cars, but we'll get there sooner than later. But I just wanted to do a quick little walk around, a little outro on everything that we have gotten done on this car so far. We still need to put the clamps on our intercooler piping and mount the bumper, put stuff like that together, but we're making a lot of progress, and I think this thing is coming out sweet. The next big thing, I'm gonna put the radiator in, get all the fluids on. We gotta build a drain line for the turbo, and then we should be able to idle it and mess with the tune a little bit. So again, I really appreciate you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe. It means the world to me. I'm tired, guys. I really do apologize. I can't talk right now, but like and subscribe. It means the world to me. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you would like to see me do. Whether it's, just putting this car on the street and getting a time on the draggy? Do you want to see it at the track? Do you want to go see, you know, racing content? What do you guys want to see? Do you not mind the restoration stuff that I do? Like, I would really like some feedback on that. So again, I'll see you guys in the next one.